All right, good morning, traders. Today is November 13th, 2025. My name John Carignan. I'm the lead instructor here in the BYOB Trading Room. That is the day trading service for the Hit and Run Candlesticks family. Thank you for being here. Thank you to everybody out there in podcast land, digital land, cyber land. Thank you. All right, my SPY pivot this morning 681.15. Above it, I'm a bull. Below it, I'm a bear. Diamond Dow made a new high. SPY and QQQ, higher highs, higher lows, closing over their traps, over their 17 EMAs. IWM made a higher high, higher low, closing inside a bearish trap under the 17. FNGU outside day, closing under the bullish trap and under the 17. We need FNGU to work in order to get the SPY up there to some new all-time highs. SPY close. Good news. 2-hour uptrend, 10-minute bullish consolidation. Gold starts a new daily uptrend. Made a higher high, higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. Silver already in a daily uptrend, made a higher high, higher low, closing over the bullish trap over the 17. USO still in that daily downtrend, made a lower high, lower low, closing over a bearish cross under the 17 EMA. UNG in a daily uptrend made an equal high and a higher low, closing over a bullish trap over the 17. US dollar index still in a bear flag, but in a daily uptrend and closed near the 99.46 area. SPY max pain, that's for the 0 DTE options that expire today, 679 with a put to call ratio of about 1.25 puts for each call that expires today at 4:15. CPI is the main event, maybe to be outdone by the government shutdown, which occurred late last night. We'll see which one dominates the scene this morning, okay? So far, I'm not seeing a whole lot of positive movement from the government shutdown, but some of these guys are latecomers and the market hasn't been open yet, so it's hard to say how it's going to turn out. Okay, if this is your first time being here, these are all under the bulls. These are all in daily uptrends over the 17 EMA. These are all in daily downtrends under the 17 EMA. If they got a star, they're putting in a bull flag or a launch pad from which to launch higher if they're under this one. If they have a star next to it on this side, they're putting in a platform from which to dip lower, otherwise known as a bear flag, to dip lower. All right, let's take a look at the markets today. So what we see here this morning, we've got some, well, it kind of looks like consolidation under consolidation here, okay? But we're still in this bull flag early in the morning here, okay? So kind of too early to tell. Bull flag is still working, so I'll square off some boxes here. You can see for the most part that right there would be our consolidation, and it's not like a distance away, all right, but it is showing a little bit of neutral bias, being that it's not over a lot of the consolidation that occurred in the market yesterday. So you can see right here, this would be yesterday's closing hour right there. That would be the consolidation from yesterday. So I guess I'm going to call it neutral. It probably hasn't broke the lows of yesterday, but it's still just moving off to the right over to the side. So we'll see. So I'm looking for a breakout of this range, that high, this low, in order to get motivated to trade something. Other than that, I'm just going to trade the bull flag, which really equates to me trading from the bottom to the top, okay? From the bottom up to the top, from the bottom up to the top, okay, on this bull flag. All right, just like I always trade them. Bull flags, bottom to the top, bottom to the top. Still a neutral bias, a little bit of consolidation under the consolidation. Not really worried about it. We didn't break these lows, and we haven't moved far off of where we want to be. So again, I'll just keep trading bottom to the top until they break either a breakout on the upside or breakout on the downside. And we may just chop around all morning long. We'll see what happens. We've done quite a bit of chopping around yesterday. So maybe we get a breakout today, okay? Because we're going to have CPI here in about 25 minutes, all right? So when we look at the 10-minute chart, over here on the 10-minute chart, you can see we moved up from this low over here. And I'm just going to call it 10-minute bullish consolidation. Not really an uptrend, even though the 3 is up over the 8 right here. Not really a downtrend because 3's not under the 8, but we're not moving down. So I'm just going to call it, because we move right from here over to the right, bullish consolidation. Not in favor of any uptrend or downtrend, but just bullish consolidation. So there's on the 10-minute chart. On the 2-hour chart, you can see right here, we've got the candlesticks riding on top of the 3 EMA. Get rid of this. Don't need that anymore. Candlesticks riding on top of the 3 EMA. We've got daylight between the 3 EMA and the 8 EMA, which is the white line. And the 3 EMA is the yellow line. All right, so we've got a 2-hour uptrend coming into the close yesterday. And 10-minute bullish consolidation. On the daily chart, still in a downtrend on the daily chart. Got to take out this high right here. You could call it technically an uptrend. We did take out this high, but doesn't really qualify for me. But you can look at it either way. It doesn't bother me at all. Again, price action needs to make a higher high. That's the high to beat right there, because that's the low. So got to beat that high. Price action yesterday is this candle right here, the red one, making a higher low and a higher high, closing over a bullish trap, and over, see the dots, that's the 17 EMA, closing over the 17 EMA. So closing over a bullish trap, which is also over the 17 EMA. So nice work on the bulls part, okay? Not a really strong close, but holding the higher ground, which is something that I can appreciate when I'm a bull, and I like that a lot. Okay, price action, holding the higher ground. And I said we're probably going to get some obstacles in this area due to right here. You got the high here, got the high here. See this? So all in all, this was yesterday's candle. Price action still retained underneath this. Looks like a ceiling for right now. And I kind of suspected that would be the ceiling for yesterday. So price action just kind of just stopped right there on SPY for the daily chart. So nice work on the bulls part. I wish they would have closed at the highs, but it is what it is. They're still holding that bull flag like that. Okay, so my favorite trade is the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that resides inside the 2-hour uptrend, that lives inside of the daily uptrend, that resides inside the weekly uptrend, inside the monthly uptrend. So right now you can see on the daily chart, back to the daily chart, we don't technically have a daily uptrend in my eyes, but we are moving up, okay? We're in a downtrend. We got the downtrend by breaking this low right here. So that's our daily downtrend, but we're not moving down. After breaking the low, we're moving up. So it's a failed downtrend, or a downtrend that's not working, and price action is moving back up toward the highs and back towards the ceiling up there. So there's SPY. Again, my favorite trade, 10-minute uptrend over VWAP inside 2-hour uptrend, inside daily uptrend, inside weekly uptrend, inside monthly uptrend. Okay, so here's weekly uptrend. You can see the April low. Obviously, daylight between the 3 and the 8. Weekly uptrend right there. That's bullish. All right. Monthly, still in an uptrend. Again, price action here. Up over the 8 EMA, up over the 17. You can see daylight between the 3 and the 8. So, and they're both pointed up. So, weekly, monthly, still pointed in the upward direction, still in uptrends there. All right. So, I like that 10-minute uptrend because it's got all the bigger time frames supporting that 10-minute uptrend move. So, what did we trade yesterday? Okay, it was brief on yesterday's price action. We had a 10-minute downtrend which we traded, and we hit the floor right here, which we suspected would be right about this area. All right, and then we reversed. It actually happened to be the floor that we hit was VWAP closing on the previous day. So you can see that's where VWAP closed the previous day. And there was the floor. We put in a double bottom right there. Then we traded the 10-minute uptrend, which happened to bull flag out over to the right into the end of the day. All right, so we traded a downtrend and then the uptrend. Makes for a nice day when you get that reversal in the middle of the day. Nice, good size moves for a bull flag. That's pretty good. All right, so anyways, that's what we traded yesterday. Let's take a look at QQQ. QQQ on the 10-minute chart, you can see, again, bullish consolidation. All right, you can see price action moves up and over to the right, making higher lows. See the lows here? Got a low, higher low, another higher low, even higher low. Okay, no higher highs, just bull flagging out to the right here. So I'm going to call it bullish consolidation in the close. Little 10-minute uptrend, if you want to call it an uptrend, but it didn't go anywhere. So right into the close, little 10-minute uptrend. So we may see a continuation of this 10-minute uptrend. Now, I'll be looking for that early this morning on both QQQ and SPY. You can see on SPY, little 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. Pre-market's not really showing us the right stuff, but I'll be looking for that 10-minute uptrend over VWAP. First thing out of the gate this morning for SPY and QQQ. Again, I'll be looking for continuation of that uptrend, and I won't want any candles that have more wick than body and tail, because that shows me bearish control. Okay, so like this candle right here, that won't work for me. All right, spinning tops and dojis. Here's a little doji right here. You see, kind of bulls and bears agree on price there. Spinning tops, they don't work either because bulls and bears agree on price. I'm going to be trading options, and options begin to decay the minute you buy them, unless if you don't have any momentum. So I'm going to need momentum. All right, so I'm going to need a good green candle to start my day. Okay, so no red candles, because if I'm buying an uptrend, that shows me bearish control, and why would I want to just give my money away to the bears when I'm clearly looking for a bullish candle to support my 10-minute uptrend? All right, so that just doesn't make sense to buy a red candle or any candle that shows me bearish control or even neutral control where bulls and bears agree on price. All right, I want to buy a candle that has some momentum behind it and some oomph, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I'll be looking for on the continuation of the SPY. A little 10-minute bullish consolidation, 10-minute uptrend right there. And on QQQ, same deal. All right, I'll be looking for the same thing to happen again. So 10-minute bullish consolidation, call it 10-minute uptrend on QQQ coming into the close. 2-hour chart, you can see right here. 2-hour, not really pointed up, kind of pointed to the side, but 3 is hanging out up over the 8. So 2-hour uptrend or bullish consolidation. You can see how clean these candles are. They kind of like stay here. They're like right on this latitude, didn't even move. All right, so that's a lot of consolidation. So gonna be a big time move when we move it. All right, so if it's a measured move, hopefully it is, that will take QQQ up to new all-time highs right up there if it's a measured move, because this is how I do my measured moves, from the low up to this high right here. Okay, and then duplicate that, Okay, and then slide one under here, under the low, right there. And that would put us up to some new all-time highs right there, if it's a measured move. No guarantees it's a measured move, but bottom line is we've got a 2-hour uptrend. Now, like I said, my favorite chart, my favorite setup is the 10-minute uptrend over VWAP that resides inside the 2-hour, that resides inside the daily. Good news, we got the 2-hour is in an uptrend, okay? Let's take a look at the daily chart. This would be the candle right here, not this one, this bigger red candle right there. So higher low, higher high, that's a good sign. Don't like the close. Closing up over, well, just on top of the trap there, over the 17 EMA, but under the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. So price action that's kind of bullish right there. I like that. So we got a downtrend still, okay, because we haven't made any higher highs. But the good news is we're not moving down. We're moving up and over to the right. So that qualifies for my daily uptrend. Weekly, you can see daylight between the 3 and the 8. Obviously, you can see the 8 EMA is pointed up. You can see the green dots. You can see the trajectory of the green dots definitely in the upward direction. Same here with the 3 EMA. Definitely moving to the upside, from down here, moving up to there. So trajectory on the weekly chart, uptrend. Daylight between the two, got the 3 over the 8. That's a nice clean uptrend right there. Monthly chart, same deal. Candlesticks riding on top of the 3 and the 8 pointed up. You can see the trajectory from the low up to the high. Clearly an uptrend, weekly chart, monthly chart. Daily chart, not so much, but like I said, that downtrend is not working because price is moving up and over to the right. So we'll see where that goes. All right, so there's QQQ. All right, and like I said, I'll be trading QQQ much in the same fashion. Again, I'll be looking for continuation, just like SPY, of this 10-minute uptrend. Like I said, no dojis, no spinning tops, no bearish candles. So even though it's green, it's got more wick than body and tail. That means bears dominated control on that candle. So that's not going to work for us. All right, right there. Don't want green candle that gives up over half of the move. All right, that's not going to work. So want some nice green candle to start the day off on QQQ SPY on the 10-minute chart. All right, so let's go take a look at IWM on the daily chart. All right, IWM right here. There's yesterday's candle. It's not this one, but this one right here. Looking like a higher low and a higher high, but closing under a bearish trap, under the 17, under the test of the all-time high anchored VWAP right there. So price action is still up here in quadrant 4. Okay, so both QQQ, SPY, quadrant 4, that's bullish. And don't forget, they both got those downtrends that are not working. So here we are with IWM in a downtrend that kind of is working right now. All right, so IWM kind of neutral up here because we're in that downtrend, but we are in bullish territory all the way up here in the middle of quadrant 4. Okay. Like to see price get over this test of the all-time high anchored VWAP. If I move it out to here, see where we come out to be. Yeah, we're still underneath it, whether I'm on the test or the actual all-time high. We're still underneath it. We need to get on top of that. Okay. Again, I like my setup to be over the all-time high anchored VWAP. That matters. Okay. Okay. So IWM. Let's talk about Diamond Dow. Wow, we don't have much to say about Diamond Dow. New all-time high. Drop the mic. It doesn't get any better than that, okay? Closing over the bullish trap, over the 17 EMA, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Well, of course, it made a new all-time high. So there's Diamond Dow getting the job done. Okay, so where's SPY? Where's QQQ? Where's IWM? What's the holdup here? Okay, so Diamond Dow getting the job done today. Yesterday. Okay, Diamond Dow still weekly uptrend, still monthly uptrend right there. IWM, let's look at weekly, monthly uptrend, still in an uptrend right there. Got a higher low. See, there's a low. Got a higher low. Got a high. Made a higher high. So IWM still getting the job done so far on the monthly chart. All right, let's take a look at FNGU. This is our little problem child right here, FNGU. Let's take a look at it on the daily chart. Okay, because this is when these 10 move together as a pack, they can drag those two indexes in whatever direction the pack wants to move. Okay, they carry that much weight. Okay, so they carry a big stick. All right, so here's FNGU, yesterday's candle. Big, ugly red candle. Okay, so outside day, higher high, lower low, closing underneath, bearish trap underneath, obviously all-time high anchored VWAP, closing underneath, flat 17 EMA. In the middle of quadrant 4, again, currently we in consolidation, over consolidation. Let me square that off for you. You can see got consolidation here and prior consolidation. I'm just gonna box it off right here. So you can see we're still up over that. That's a bullish bias. Okay, we're in a downtrend. We got ourselves in a downtrend right here. Okay, see this candle making a lower low. See the low right there? Made a lower low. So that's downtrend status. Okay. But after making the lower low, clearly we're not moving lower. We're actually moving in the opposite direction. So we got a downtrend that's currently not working real good right now. So it's moving up and over to the right. And it's holding the higher ground. Okay, so you see that in SPY. Okay, moving up and holding the higher ground. You see that in QQQ. Okay, see it moving. Even though we broke the lows, moving up and holding the higher ground, that's bullish. Okay, so back to FNGU, the problem child here. Okay, so here we are, closing under all-time high anchored VWAP, underneath all of this stuff. So we need to stage a rally and get back up there. This looks like a failed breakout. Don't like that at all, but we definitely need to find some bullish engulfing move that takes out this candle. All right, currently in a downtrend, and we won't be in an uptrend until we take out this high right here. Okay, so if we could take out that high. If we do it today, it's not going to count. But if we put in a couple days to make a peak and a valley, we probably could. Price action needs to take out this high up here, all right, if we don't do it today, all right? So we got to take out that high right there to negate the downtrend and convert the uptrend. So there's FNGU. Let's take a look at some technicals. No, let's take a look at gold and silver. So here's gold. Okay, not this candle, not the doji, but the big green candle. Yeah, that was yesterday's move. Nice move, right? Higher low, higher high, closing over the bullish trap, over the 17 EMA, over the all-time high anchored VWAP. Traders, we love that as long as we're bullish on gold and we're holding gold contracts. Nice bullish move yesterday, okay? So that's up there. Let me zoom out. See there? Top of quadrant 4, okay? Obviously bullish, okay? And you can see clearly we took out this high finally. All right, so in an uptrend. All right, so there's gold. Silver, all right. Now notice back at gold, they were not in an uptrend, but because yesterday, see this peak right here, they took out that high right there. So they negated the downtrend and converted the uptrend. Notice right here, see, we couldn't take out that high. You put the crosshairs on it. But after yesterday's move right there, we came up over it. So now we got the higher high. That's an uptrend right there on gold. So silver was always in an uptrend, never lost the mojo. Silver puts in a nice green candle, higher high, higher low. Look at silver running off early this morning, trying to bust out a new all-time high. Look at that. That's nice. Okay, so silver, higher low. This is yesterday's candle, the green one. Okay, this is the one that's trying to make a new all-time high. Green one, that's yesterday. Okay, higher low, higher high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA, over the all-time high anchored VWAP at the top of quadrant 4. That guy is bullish. See the, I'm going to pan out so you can see the whole move from the low back in 2022 clear up to the all-time, the all-time high, okay, made this year by silver, way up there, top of quadrant 4, bullish and in an uptrend. All right, for silver. All right, let's take a look at UNG. UNG doing some right stuff. Here's yesterday's candle, this doji looking spinning top kind of candle. The body's not fat enough to be a spinning top, but that doji cross right there, well, higher low, equal high, closing over a bullish trap over the 17 EMA, tackling the 2025 all-time high anchored VWAP right there. All right, now let's see if they can hold the higher ground. Maybe, just maybe, if they can hold for more than, 10 minutes, they could possibly, get up on top of that. We'll see. And I meant 10 minutes, it's kind of rhetorical right there. I really meant to see it hold for like 5 days. See how this hold? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days right there. Okay, so they haven't been able to do that in a long time. Okay, see this? Barely making it. Double top there, 1 top here, 4 top there. See, 3 top, 2 top. I mean, look at all these tops. 1 top, double top, But the bar's really not that high, okay? Because that's the all-time low. They should be able to hold this. But anyways, there it is. If they could climb up there and kind of hold for a week or two, that would be nice. That would be a nice bullish sign. They're still clearly in quadrant 1. Okay. There's the 2025 high. There's the all-time low. This is still bearish. All right. Until they break out of this lower third. Still bearish. Nice little uptrend for those that traded this. I think somebody traded this in the other room. Got a higher low, made a higher high. So that's an uptrend starting right now. And you can see clearly, you got the 3 EMA up over the 8 EMA. You got both of them pointed up. You got the candlesticks riding on top of the 3. Trajectory's a little steep right now, but it's working. And everything up over the 17. It's a nice start of an uptrend. Maybe this is could be the future. We'll see. There's UNG on the daily chart. Uptrend, but bearish. Okay, so we'll just call it neutral, all right, because it's in an uptrend that is working, but it's down here in bearish territory, number 1, okay? So like to see the breakout, like to see it get out of this lower third. That would be nice. So there's UNG. USO. All right, USO, this would be the candle right here, the red one, the big one, the ugly one. Lower high, lower low, closing under a bearish trap. Okay, we got a downtrend because we got a high. You notice that high is lower than this high, so we got lower highs. See the low, got a lower low, so lower highs, lower lows. Again, lower high, yeah, and again, lower low. So downtrend, but not in the lower third, not in the upper third, so just neutral. And this is the post-COVID rally high right here. That's what I'm going to call it, because remember COVID was 2020, okay? So this is the rally back from the COVID drop right here. So that's the post-COVID rally high. So this is after the COVID rally high right there. Anchored VWAP, which is this pink line right here. So price action. Price action really needs to break this downtrend, okay? You clearly got a downtrend going on right there. and we need to bust out and hold up there for more than 4 candles, because you can see they cannot hold the highs. Okay, they're having trouble holding the highs, so they need to get up there, break this downtrend, hold the highs, and then that will be interesting. All right, we'll see what happens. Clearly in a downtrend, just neutral right now, not in the upper third, not in the lower third. Take a look at some technicals. T2101. Okay, so a little bit of bullishness yesterday, and we have some increase in the breadth and the participation. Okay, I don't know what's going on. It's like they can't make up their mind. All right, but some days they go up, but the participation and the breadth goes down. Some days they go up, and the participation and the market breadth go up. I can't figure it out. All right, but I do see a bull flag. It's a big wavy flag coming from the double bottom into the reversal zone down here over to the right. So we'll see what they want to do. I notice every time it gets down here, we go up to highs, come back, go back up to highs, come back, go back up to highs, come back. Are we going back up to highs? I hope so. We'll see. So there's T2101. All right, T2122. Nice work holding these highs. Made a brief appearance right here in the overbought zone. Okay, as we opened up yesterday in the overbought zone, and from there we spent the day in the buy zone. Pretty much what I said I'd like to see is for price to spend the day up here in the buy zone, maybe the top of the buyer's chop zone. Okay, so nice work on the bulls for T2122. I do like price moving up. I do like holding the higher ground up here. That is a nice look. I don't want to give up too much more than that. All right, I'd rather no more than like half of the buyer's chop zone, and I'd like to see them really start bull flagging this out up here between the buyer's chop zone and the buy zone. That's T2122. That's the 4-week new high, new low ratio. T2123. Clearly in an uptrend, you can see there's a low, there's a high. This high is higher than this high. That's an uptrend. And we're starting to make bullish gaps that aren't getting filled by the bears. Well, there's something new. And we're starting to fill some of the bearish gaps that were never filled by the bulls. So that's good news. So we're in an uptrend on the 15. We're holding the higher ground, like that shelf they're building out there. See the launch pad? That's a nice launch pad. Maybe we get up higher on that. We're back up over the 200 SMA. Again, I like that because I'm a bull. All right. So when you're underneath it, all right, it's no fun unless you're a bear. Okay. So T2123 up here, putting in a bull gap, not filled by the bears. Moving up, holding the higher ground. I like it. I like it. I like it. And we've got consolidation over prior consolidation. So nice work in T2123. That looks good. I don't know why IWM didn't show us something that looked like that, because I don't think IWM looks like that at all. But that's our 15-minute chart of T2123. Look at the 3-bar chart. Okay, we've got a high. All right. And still lower high here, okay? So we've got low, lower low. So we're still in a downtrend on the bigger time frame, okay? And if you look where we are, both the 15-minute, okay? Okay, there's the all-time high, both the 15-minute and the 3-bar. Of course, it's the same product. It's going to be in the same place. Okay, T2123 3-bar, still down here in quadrant 1. Okay, that's still bearish. Okay, under the 200 SMA. Okay, not my favorite place to be unless you're a bear. All right, so clearly need some more spinach, some more red meat, some more mustard. All right, to get up out of this lower third. Okay, so that's T2123. Now we're gonna zoom way out, way out, back to not the beginning of time, but back to April, where the low was made, and we rallied up and made new all-time highs, okay? So that is the new all-time high. So this is the pullback from the new all-time high. You can see still down here in quadrant 1, okay? Need to get up out of there if we're going to get interesting, all right? So still bullish up here, but not showing any signs yet on the 3-bar chart, okay? See that? Still up in quadrant 4, and we are showing a bearish head and shoulders. Left shoulder, right shoulder, all of this would be the head. So we'll see what happens here, okay? So in order to negate this bearish head and shoulders, we need to decapitate the head. Now, in order to do that, you got to take price, you got to go up and you got to make a new high. That's the only way to do it, all right? To negate that bearish head and shoulders is to take off the head, and now you have no head and shoulders. You don't have a head and shoulders. Without the head, you can't have the head and shoulders pattern, right? So you got to decapitate the head, and you got to come up here to get that done. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so there's T21.23. Still kind of neutral here. 3-bar chart still moving down. Again, 3-bar chart still bearish and in a downtrend, but from the bigger perspective up here in quadrant 4, so not moving up. All right, so there's T21.23. We can still stage a rally and get it done. Okay, they can do it when they're ready to do it. All right, so maybe some of those quarterly contributions that go to 401ks and IRAs may come in soon. I don't know. And we could see a rally from some of those. FNGU yesterday, okay? Price moving up, still holding the higher ground. But the bears are making lower lows, okay? So not a good sign if you're a bull, okay? So the bears making lower lows. Got a little low down here, got a higher high, so it looks like a downtrend, but the bulls staged a coup right here. See them? There's a high. They inked out just by pennies, a little higher high right there. Okay, so there's a low. So there's a low. They made higher low. Okay, there's a high. They made higher high. So they had a little, 10-cent coup right here, and we made a higher high. So we canceled the downtrend and converted the uptrend right there by making the higher high. Closing up over the falling 200 SMA. That's great news. Thanks, Alan, for the CPI and the jobless claims. So, they're delayed. All right, so they're not coming out. Interesting. All right. I don't think the market's going to rally on that. Just saying. All right, so here's FNGU 15-minute in an uptrend, holding up here the higher ground in the bull flag over the falling 200 SMA. So nice work there, okay? But clearly giving up a lot of ground still, okay? I do like the idea that they're consolidating over all of this consolidation. I think I mentioned that earlier, all right, when I said, hey, look, we've got consolidation up over consolidation. Thank you, Alan. And you can see right there. So that's a bullish bias. That's a bullish environment. So we'll see what happens, okay? All right, let's take a look at the economic package, wrap this up. All right, so people can go get some coffee. All right, max pain for today, 679. Above it, I'm a bull. Oh, no, 679 for the options that expire today. Put to call ratio, 1.25 puts for each call that expires today. Economic calendar. There are no headliners because CPI and jobless claims got delayed. All right, so the big headline for this week could be the shutdown ends. All right, tomorrow PPI final demand 8:30, unless it's delayed too. What do we got? Retail sales 8:30. All right, unless it's delayed too. Business inventories 10 o'clock. Both PPI final demand and retail sales come out at 8:30. Got a natural gas report at 10:30. That's usually on Thursday, but we had Veterans Day. Thank you, veterans, everyone that served. Appreciate that. All right, so things got delayed a little bit due to the Veterans Day. So natural gas, which normally comes out on Thursday, got pushed off to Friday. And who knows if they'll even delay that too. And that's about it for economic events, earnings calendar. Nothing really market moving this week. Disney's going to report. That'll help out the retail sector if they happen to pump out some good numbers. Tomorrow, what do we got? Again, just some familiar names. Nothing that's market moving there. Disney's coming out today. Got somebody, Mitsubishi Financial. Can't find the P&L, or they're not finished with it yet. Sumitomo Financial. Can't find the P&L, or they haven't put it all together yet. Applied Materials tonight, 182 billion. That's tech. That might help out the tech sector a little bit. Not a market mover right there. Okay, so there's earnings. We did economic. We did Max Payne. Now the dollar. Dollar, we close right here. See that sword? Okay, that's the wrong direction if you're a bull for the sword to be pointing. Okay, so because that means price went up and rolled over. And hence you see the red candle over here. Okay, so price for yesterday closed right around 99.47, 99.46 area. Okay, you can see clearly right here. We've got some higher, got a low right here. Got a higher low right here. Okay, got a high right here. Got a higher high right there. Got a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Possible higher low, we'll see. So there's a daily uptrend on the US dollar index. Okay, but okay, don't get excited. Okay, which is clearly, all right, in a bear flag because it's moving down and then over to the right. Okay, bear flag right there. Okay, but in a daily uptrend. Okay, if they happen to start closing candles up over the top of the flag, we could see a breakout from the consolidation right there. So we'll see what happens. All right, so there's US dollar in a bear flag. All right, traders, I'll see you guys all in about, let's say 35 minutes, 40 minutes. We'll open up the markets. Again, I'm going to try to follow those 10-minute uptrends. Not so sure they're going to work out, being since more delayed data, all right, and the shutdown is over. We could see some inspiration. Again, I'm going to continue to trade that bull flag much in the same way as I trade all my bull flags. All right, let's go back over here. Okay, bull flag. Let's take a look at SPY. Let me point it out one more time so you guys can see this. Okay, so I'm just going to box off bull flag. All right, right here. I'm going to box off. Here's bull flag right there. And I will trade it, okay, much in the same way, from the bottom to the top, bottom to the top, bottom to the top, bottom to the top, up there. Okay, we'll see what happens. All right, but that's the way I'm going to trade it, from the bottom up to the top. Okay, that's my plan. All right, if they break these lows down here, below that tail right there, this tail right here, if they break below that tail, then I'm not going to be able to trade that. All right, I'll just wait for the red erases green, which will happen right here. All right, and I'll trade that to the downside for gap fill right down here. We'll see what happens. Okay, so below that tail down there. All right, that would be a red flag. So right below this, right here, is where I would enter. That would be my red erases green right there. Red erases green right there below that. And that would be my red erases green entry. Okay, so can't do the bottom to the top right now because they're breaking out of the bottom. So I need that confirmation bulls are going to be there. All right, so we may see a bullish engulfing come in soon. We'll see what happens. All right, got delayed data. Market doesn't like uncertainty. All right, so I'll see you guys in 30 minutes. Thanks.